across accelerating. The change was subtle, only a few meters per second at first, but consistent, controlled. NASA's AI orbital predictor issued a rare Level 5 anomaly alert, the same classification used for incoming near-Earth threats. Still, scientists tried to stay calm. Until one more variable changed. The pulses began. Every 17 minutes, the comet flashed in ultraviolet light, each pulse perfectly timed. The emergency briefing was called within 24 hours. NASA's control center went into lockdown. Even senior staff were stripped of access codes. Reporters described the scene as sterile, silent, lit only by the glow of monitors tracing a red arc that wouldn't stop tightening. At the front stood Dr. Alistair Finch, his eyes hollow from 2 nights without sleep. He began with numbers, velocity, mass, projected orbit, but halfway through, the tone changed. He pulled up a live feed from the Goldstone radar array. The object was reflecting signals like polished metal, not frozen gas. The air in the room thickened. Harvard physicists exchanged glances. Someone whispered, "Metallic composition?" Then came the update that froze every mind present. New telemetry showed 3I Atlas wasn't just moving toward Mars. It was steering, with pulses timed to planetary alignment. Dr. Finch looked up. He said, "This isn't a comet. It's controlled arrival." In the following days, NASA's data pipeline turned into chaos. Every new observation broke the last prediction. 3I Atlas wasn't losing energy like a normal comet. It was gaining it. Its trajectory adjusted with precision beyond gravity's pull, as if invisible thrusters were guiding it from within. The Goldstone radar array detected pulses strong enough to bounce off the ionosphere. They weren't random. They carried a pattern. Each burst formed a near-perfect binary sequence. At Harvard, Dr. Avi Lieb's team decoded fragments that resembled prime number repetition. It was as though someone, or something, was trying to be understood. Then came the image from the James Webb Telescope. A faint metallic reflection shimmered at the core of 3I Atlas, too regular, too symmetrical. Dr. Finch stared at it in disbelief. He said, "If that's real, then we're not tracking a comet. We're tracking technology. Within 48 hours, the theories shifted from improbable to terrifying. Goldstone's next radar sweep returned a signal so dense it echoed like polished titanium. Ice and dust don't reflect like that. Something metallic was beneath the surface, something engineered. Meanwhile, the European Space Agency's Mars Express sent back a sequence of images no one could explain. 3 faint glimmers moving in perfect triangular formation high above the Martian atmosphere. They hadn't been there the week before. Telemetry analysts whispered what no one dared to publish. Atlas wasn't alone. Harvard's Deep Sky Net AI detected synchronization between those glimmers and the comet's 17-minute pulses. Every flare from Atlas matched a flicker in the formation orbiting Mars. A second press briefing was scheduled, but before it began, every major observatory received a blackout order. Something had changed in space, and no one was allowed to talk about it. When silence replaced science, the rumors began. Leaked memos described an emergency joint program, Operation Chimera, a mission created not for exploration, but for interception. 12 modified SpaceX starships were refitted in orbit, each carrying hypervelocity tungsten rods the size of telephone poles. They weren't missiles. They were cosmic hammers, meant to nudge an intruder the size of a mountain. The launch windows were tight. 3i Atlas was moving faster than anything humankind had ever tried to catch. Engineers worked in 12-hour rotations while military satellites watched the red arc close in on Mars. The plan was brutal and simple. Phase 1, kinetic impactors. Phase 2, a nuclear backup codenamed Firefly, armed with next-generation fusion devices for a standoff detonation. No one spoke publicly. No one even confirmed the mission existed. But the pulse timing from 3i Atlas changed that night, as if it knew we were coming. On the night of the launch, the sky was silent. From hidden orbital platforms, 12 kinetic impactors ignited their railgun drives and streaked toward the coordinates of 3i Atlas. Their trajectories were so precise that even a single misfire could have shattered the plan and the planet. For 6 hours the world waited. Then, one by one, the impact telemetry vanished from radar. No debris, no explosion, nothing. It was as if the projectiles had been absorbed. Minutes later, every deep space dish from Goldstone to Canberra lit up with a new signal, louder, sharper, almost angry. The comet's rhythm changed from 17 minutes to 9. The binary pulses doubled in speed, each spike more powerful than before. NASA's AI calculated that 3i Atlas had adjusted its heading again. It was no longer on course for Mars's North Pole. It was descending toward Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system. The failed intercept turned the scientific world upside down. NASA's Deep Space Array captured the new pulse pattern in its entirety, a sequence that no random cosmic event could produce. The binary data, when translated into spectral frequencies, formed prime numbers, then geometric ratios identical to the shape of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Harvard's data scientists ran simulations through Deep Sky Net, and what came back was chilling. The pattern wasn't just a code, it was a map. The coordinates pointed precisely to Olympus Mons, where the object now aimed to strike. Every pulse ended with the same repeating energy signature, 3.1416, pi, a universal constant, a language of reason. Dr. Finch stood frozen as he read the AI's conclusion. He said, "If it's communicating in mathematics, then it knows we're listening." The room fell silent, because the next pulse spelled Earth. By September 25th, the countdown had begun. Every telescope, every radar dish in orbit turned toward Mars. The streamed feed was a single crimson dot, moving faster than light should reflect. Inside NASA's control room, Dr. Finch and his team worked in silence, their faces lit by screens displaying a single word: impact. Operation Firefly, the nuclear failsafe, was green-lit. A stealth vessel, invisible to civilian sensors, aligned with the target and armed its payload. The plan was simple and deadly. Detonate nearby, vaporize one side, force a trajectory shift. But just hours before detonation, the pulses stopped. The energy readings flattened. Every instrument went blind. Then, without warning, the object split apart. 3 fragments, each glowing faintly blue.
They drifted into formation above Olympus Mons, hovering motionless, defying physics. And then came the transmission, 6 words across every NASA frequency. We arrived long before you did. The world froze. Every feed, every transmission, every control screen went blank, replaced by the same 6 words: we arrived long before you did. In Houston, silence. In Harvard's control lab, tears and disbelief. The pulses returned, now faint, like a fading heartbeat. The 3 fragments above Olympus Mons began to vibrate, carving geometric trails into the Martian sky. Each line formed a perfect circle, then another, until the planet's thin atmosphere glowed with symbols no one could decode. Spectrographic scans revealed something buried deep beneath Olympus Mons, structures older than known Martian geology. It wasn't a crash site, it was a homecoming. Dr. Finch whispered the last line of his log before power failed. They weren't coming to us. We were standing on what they left behind. Then the feed cut, and for the first time in history, Earth waited for Mars to answer.